The Chinese Communist Party is preparing for war in more ways than one. Has Massachusetts' governor been compromised by the CCP? And China's already spoiling trade talks with the White House. That and more on this week's China News Headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. China has launched a 3-day live fire drill in the South China Sea, which in an unusual move started before they warned anyone they would be opening fire. To be fair, going in guns a-blazing is about the most American thing I've ever seen China do. Meanwhile, the Taiwanese military drills that began earlier this month are set to last for another few weeks, which is absolutely 100% in no way the reason China is doing these sudden surprise drills of their own. In other news, China says that the newly announced U.S. Golden Dome defense plan threatens global stability somehow. This is, of course, totally unacceptable since that's China's job. China has committed $500 million to the WHO over the next 5 years, an increase over previous funding. Oh, it's so nice. After all the cover the WHO did for China during the pandemic, things like denying it was a pandemic and telling everyone to ignore Taiwan, the WHO is getting a little reward. The WHO has been struggling financially since the U.S. reduced funding and withdrew from the organization. My heart bleeds. I hope that's not a side effect of the pandemic they helped China cover up. But as the New York Times will tell you, why does it matter whether COVID came out of a lab? Leave your answers in the comments. General Motors says it is halting its U.S. vehicle exports to China amid trade concerns. According to CBT News, a car news site, the auto giant pointed to significant changes to economic conditions and ongoing trade tensions between the United States and China behind the decision. But GM's business in China wasn't doing so hot even before the current trade war, with GM's main sales platform in the country notably missing from April's Shanghai Auto Show, the country's biggest automotive industry event. Companies being disappeared after doing business in China? A tale as old as, well, the CCP. China has boosted and promoted domestically made cars, including electric vehicles. And some reports suggest that these domestically produced vehicles are even outdoing Tesla in the country, even though they're somehow even more likely to be on fire. No arsonists required. So it looks like the trade war is just being used as an excuse for this scale back of exports. If only they'd been listening to me for the past 12 years, doing business with China isn't worth it. Unless, of course, you're the World Health Organization. And after the break, China is making trade talks with the White House very difficult. Surprise, surprise. Welcome back. In the latest tariff war update, the markets have calmed down a bit since China and the U.S. both agreed to engage in trade talks and scale back some of their tariffs on each other. Bookings for container ships going from China to the U.S. even increased by more than 50% this week. But if you think that's a sign the negotiations are going well, you haven't been paying attention. Diplomacy with the CCP never ends well. China is saying that the U.S. undermined trade talks with its Huawei chip warning. Last Tuesday, 2 days after negotiations began, the White House Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security warned about the risks of using Chinese-developed advanced computing chips, especially Huawei's Ascend chip. The Bureau noted that these chips were likely developed in violation of U.S. export controls. In response, a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Commerce urged the U.S. to correct its mistakes, calling the U.S. Commerce Department's guidelines discriminatory and market distorting. Yes, Chinese communists, very concerned about the free market. The spokesperson also said that if the U.S. insists on its own way and continues to substantially damage China's interests, China will take resolute measure to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. So it sounds like that trade deal with China isn't going to materialize. And when full tariffs kick back in on August 12th, the markets are going to go insane. Now, this is not financial advice, but you might want to look into gold. Gold is a very popular investment in financially uncertain times because it's gold. It's not stock that will shoot up or down. The Chinese government is buying up as much gold as they can get their hands on, and you can too, which is why I'm teaming up with Noble Gold. After more than a decade of gold companies reaching out to me, Noble Gold is the only gold company I felt was honest, and they're the only one I'm going to recommend to you. You don't have to buy gold, but you owe it to yourself to learn about gold as an investment strategy. That's why I'm offering a free gold and silver investment guide. And if you do choose to make a qualified investment in the next 90 days, you'll also get a free 10th ounce gold coin. Go to ChinaUncensoredGold.com or click the link below. And as usual, there's controversy in U.S. politics. Only this time, it's not about presidents or Trump misspelling something on social media. It's about China. Earlier this month, the Massachusetts governor met with the head of a Chinese outpost tied to CCP political influence schemes in the U.S. Democrat Maura Healey met with Chen to discuss deepening her state's relationship with China. And sadly, that doesn't mean tossing any communication with China into the depths of the Mariana Trench. Chen is a consul general in New York, but his office oversees relations with Massachusetts. The problem is that Chen's office has been accused by the U.S. Justice Department of involvement in numerous espionage, repression, and foreign agent criminal schemes. You know, the exact kind of organization you want to work with and can totally trust. In one case, a man connected with Chen's office, named Tang Liang, was accused by the federal government of acting as an agent of China. The Justice Department, in its indictment, alleged that Liang was frequently in touch with officials from the Chinese Consulate General and sent them information about anti-CCP dissidents in Boston. He was acquitted earlier this year, and his lawyer argued that Liang was open about his pro-Beijing activities and viewpoints. So he's trying to work for China, but at least he's honest about it. That's like saying a shoplifter should be acquitted because they said please and thank you. And that's to say nothing of the office's nefarious activities in New York. I've done a few episodes on that, link below. In any case, like wearing galoshes over Lululemon pants, it's a bad look, especially since the Bay State has had other controversies related to the CCP erupt lately, such as that of progressive Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, who it turns out used a fundraiser for her 2021 campaign that has ties to the CCP. That fundraising organization is the New England Chinese American Alliance. It helped raise $300,000 for Mayor Wu's campaign, and it's co-chaired by a man named Gary Yu. But Yu is also listed under another name as a member of the CCP Influence Operations Organization, the United Front Work Department. According to the Daily Caller, citing Chinese state media and records, Yu has repeatedly met with high-ranking CCP intelligence leaders in China and is listed as an official by 2 regional branches of a United Front Work Department arm. Mayor Wu hasn't commented on the reports, and there hasn't been a comment yet from Governor Healey either. Maybe they'll say Yu said please and thank you, so he can't be held accountable. And remember, check out my free gold and silver investment guide. The link is below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.